Okay, boys. In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, normally we do car-related stuff on this channel, but it has come to my attention that everyone, at least here in the U.S., and especially in Missouri, St. Louis area, is freaking the hell out about nothing. A big fat nothing burger. So there's this thing going around known as the Mexican beer infection, if you will, and everyone's freaking out about it. Everyone's going nuts. The country's shutting down. The businesses are shutting down. It has become out of control. And I'm here to tell you guys to chill out. It isn't as bad as all that. Start acting normal. Start acting rational. Start acting sane. Now, what is the basis for what I'm telling you? You may be saying, why aren't you panicking and freaking out? That's what we're supposed to do. We have to freak out and buy all the toilet paper and buy everything off the shelves because blah, blah, blah. Okay, you know what? The man known as Turd Flinging Monkey, TFM, did a very good video on this on BitChute called the Boomer, Remover, Presumer, Humor. Now, I'm going to let you watch that video because he's got charts and everything that will explain it better than I can. Since he's already done all the work, we'll let him take it from here, and you can look at the data and everything for yourself. But seriously, you need to stop acting crazy.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
Seriously, you need to act normal. Rational. I almost want to take everybody and just violently shake them, like on the movie Airplane, where everyone has to address that hysterical female passenger, because that's essentially what everybody around me is doing. I and TFM seem to be the only rational people here in the U.S. who aren't going crazy over a virus and pretending like it's the apocalypse and that everyone's dying when literally nobody is dying, and that we need to buy all the things and crash the stock market and the economy, even though none of this is, it's not a natural disaster. We're not running out of supplies. The roads aren't being flooded. The power plants aren't shutting down. We're not going to be stuck in our houses with, like, food we had to hoard. You can leave the house and go to the store. But I'll let TFM explain it from here.
Alright, so TLDR, if you don't want to watch the whole video, here's what you need to know. Coronavirus is bullshit. You're being manipulated by the media, and the only people dying of fucking coronavirus are boomers. Do you want me to prove it? Here we go. Okay, so let's look at this chart first. This is the case fatality rate of coronavirus versus the US seasonal flu. Now this is worldwide cases versus the seasonal flu. So I want you to notice, first of all, the seasonal flu, very low fatality rates. Mostly old people, but it's still under 1%. You don't give a shit about the flu, do you? Did you even get a flu shot this year? Probably not. Even if they're free. Most people don't even get a flu shot because they know if they get the flu, they're not going to die. They might have a bad time, but they're not going to die. And in fact, getting the flu shot might make you a little sick. Not from the flu, but, it lowers your immune system as you're building up antibodies for the flu. It's often not worth it. If you get the flu, you get the flu. Unless you're 80, you're fine. You're not going to die of the flu. Now let's compare this to coronavirus. You can see that the fatality rates jump up, but it's overwhelmingly old people. Now in this chart, it's 60 plus. But if you look at it, it's mostly 80-year-olds. When 80-year-olds die of something, it's called natural causes. You have to die of something. It's either going to be heart disease, cancer, the flu, something. Now, I just want to point out the infections versus deaths. So, every year in the United States, just the United States, there are 9 to 45 million infections of influenza. 9 to 45 million every year. There are 140 to 810,000 hospitalizations. And there are 12 to 61,000 deaths. Now that's an estimate. This year, in 2020, as of this year, 22,000 people in the United States have died of the flu, and no one cared. 22,000 people, overwhelmingly old people, are dead, and no one cares. Did you get a flu shot? No, you didn't. Did you know 22,000 people died of the flu? No, you didn't. But do you care? Are you going to get a flu shot now because 22,000 old people died? No, you're not. All right, let's look at coronavirus. We have globally 179,829 infections and a little over 7,000 deaths. Overwhelmingly old people. Now, comparing coronavirus to the flu, you're like, well, TFM. You have 0.06% for 50 to 64 and 1.3% for 50 to 60. That's pretty significant. That's pretty significant, TFM. I mean, I think this panic might be justified when the coronavirus is between 6 to 14 times worse than influenza. So let's bring in one more data point. Let's look at swine flu. Let's throw that into the mix, and let's see if we come up with an interesting side-by-side comparison. So H1N1, in case you don't remember, was swine flu in 2009. It infected 762,630,000 people, and it killed 284,500 people. Now, if you look at the fatality rate by age, you see that it had a fatality rate of less than 1% for all ages, 0.5 for ages 5 to 24, 1.03 to 25 to 49, 1.69 between 50 to 64, and 0.97 to 65 plus. But here is where things get interesting. I want you to look away from the boomers. I know it's hard to not look at the boomers. They're so cuddly. But try to avoid the boomers. I want you to look at every other age group, not the boomers. So, from 5 to 24, we have a slightly higher fatality rate in H1N1 than coronavirus. It's 0.1 and it's 0.5 for H1N1. For 25 to 49, it's 1.03 for H1N1. It's 0.3 for coronavirus. And for 50 to 64, H1N1 was 1.69 and it was 1.3 for coronavirus. H1N1, aside from the boomers, was more deadly to the average person than coronavirus. H1N1 was a worse pandemic for most people than the coronavirus. H1N1 was a worse disease for the average person than coronavirus. So here's a chart. This is from just statistics. This is the resident population of the United States by sex and age as of July 1st, 2018. So here we can see basically the population of the United States broken up by age and sex. You can see that the senior population is significant, but they're not the average. The average American, the biggest cohort of Americans, is 25 to 29. So what you have is an oversampling of boomers to bring up the fatality rate. So the fact that this is disproportionately affecting boomers shouldn't bother you because the average person in the United States is not a boomer. The boomers are a small portion of the whole population. Now, another interesting point is let's look at Italy versus South Korea. So here is the population and coronavirus cases in Italy by age group. And you can see the blue bars represent the general population. As you can see, just like our last chart, the older people are a small percentage of the population compared to the younger people. As you get like 20 to 29 to 50 to 59, that's the most people. And then 60 plus, it starts to slope down. But then you see the infections and cases disproportionately infecting older people. They're two completely different charts. You see the seniors being overrepresented relative to the general population. In Italy, the fatality rate is 7%. I wonder why. Could it be that it's all old people? Yes, because if you look at South Korea, here's the South Korean cases. You see the same general trend with 40 to 60-year-olds being the biggest cohort, and you see it trailing off 60 plus. And yet what you see is a proportional amount of infections relative to the population, with 20 to 29-year-olds making up the majority of cases. And in South Korea, the fatality rate is 1%. Because they're not oversampling the old people who are disproportionately going to die of disease anyway. So in Korea, the fatality rate is 1% because most of the people being tested are working age people. In Italy, the fatality rate is 7% because they're sampling old people. Because old people are the ones being affected. But unless you are 60 years old, coronavirus is less of an issue than H1N1. H1N1 is more deadly to non-boomers than coronavirus. Now, let's look at the panic. Namely, I want to look at the stock market in 2009, which is when H1N1 hit. So if you look at a timeline of H1N1, the first human infection of influenza H1N1 was detected in California April 15th, 2009. And we're going to start at April 15th, 2009. So let's look at the Dow Jones, April 15th, 2009. 2009 was a great year for stocks. We were coming right out of the housing collapse. There was no crash. There was no panic. Do you remember runs on toilet paper and hand sanitizer and face masks? Me neither. There was no fucking panic. People were concerned. People, I guess may have bought toilet paper and hand sanitizer. I don't remember. But it wasn't like today. This is retarded. This is so fucking retarded. And the people buying all the toilet paper and the face mask and the hand sanitizer are not boomers. They're like young people freaking the fuck out when they are in less danger than they were 10 years ago during H1N1, when no one cared. There was no panic. There was no state of emergency called until months later. Look, whether it's influenza, H1N1, or coronavirus, wash your hands and take necessary precautions, especially if you have pre-existing conditions or you're old. Period. Okay. Barring that, what the fuck is going on? Everything is shutting down. Everyone's flipping out. There's no toilet paper. There's no hand sanitizer. Not only is there no hand sanitizer, aloe vera gel and rubbing alcohol are sold out too because those are the ingredients in hand sanitizer. It's ridiculous. And these are young people who have almost no chance of dying from this disease, even if they get it. It's ridiculous. All to save the boomers who are bankrupting our country. Fuck the boomers. But whatever, I guess boomers are our greatest strength. So we all need to crash the economy, cancel everything, because boomers are dying. Oh no, not the boomers. Whatever will we do without the boomers? Anyway, I'm done talking about this. I know I'm right. All the data proves I'm right. You'll all figure it out eventually, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that was a big fucking nothing burger. Almost no one died, and the people who did die were all fucking boomers, and no one gives a shit. Why the fuck do we flip our shit so much? Exactly. But by that point, we probably already moved on to the next manufactured crisis. Ask yourself who's benefiting from the panic and why. It's an election year, a Republican is president, and the media are giant fucking communists. It all adds up if you just open your eyes, but whatever. Yes, go ahead and fucking, stock up on that toilet paper. Yeah, go ahead and get all the toilet paper. Anyway, I'm done with this. This is Turd Flinging Monkey. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Okay, so now that we've had TFM do all the heavy lifting for me, I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 cents here to the end of it to kind of elaborate on what he's talking about. So, in general, the H1N1, much more dangerous, higher infection rate, much more contagious, much more serious, more fatal for people who are, like, younger, right? Like my age and such, right? Those people were actually dying. There wasn't a big deal about it. But all of a sudden, this coronavirus, the beer Mexican virus thing, that is only affecting old people, ridiculously old people. And when you die of something that old, it's considered natural causes. When you're 80 years old and you get something that kills you, natural causes. So if you have only dozens of people who've died of this thing that are ancient, why is everybody freaking out over it? I'll tell you why. It's because it is an election year, and because the Democrats failed in their mission with Russia. They failed with their impeachment. They have no hope, so their best hope is to tank and crash the economy and hope that everyone will blame Trump, and that'll be the end of it. See, their original plan, now I can't prove it, right? But I suspect their original plan was to do what they're doing now, right? Blow this up and incite panic so everyone goes around and crashes the economy and goes and buys everything and everything gets shut down. And they were hoping that Trump was going to be the adult in the room, that he was going to act mature and the voice of reason and say, it's not that big of a deal, don't worry about it, don't panic. and then they were going to go find the 57 descendants of the dead people and be like, what do you want to say to President Trump now that your great-great-grandma died? And then they were going to be like, President Trump says it's not a big deal, nothing to worry about, and I loved my great-great-granny, and now I'll never see him again. That's exactly what was going to happen. All right, so what they didn't expect was for Trump to actually double down on their crazy and out-clown them here in Clown World and say, you're right, we need to set aside funds to combat this, and we need to shut the country down, we need to issue travel bans, we need to stop gatherings of people, no more people going out to eat, just shut it all down. And so now they can't do that, right? So what are they to do? Well, it doesn't make good economic sense to do that, but it is good politics, because now they can't accuse him of being mean to the old people that are all dying. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, nobody wants to hear the truth. And if anybody says anything like, hey, it's a bunch of bullshit, stop panicking, everyone's going to be like, you hate the old people and you're mean. And, just people don't want to listen to the truth. They want to hear what makes them feel good. And for some reason, inciting panic in everybody is making them feel good. Now, I also didn't think people were that dumb. I assumed that with nothing but media manipulation being in your face about it for the last 4 years, that everyone would be smart enough to see that it's not that big of a deal, that people would be smart enough to do the research on their own and understand it's not that big of a deal. But that everyone's an idiot when people are going to the store and buying all the toilet paper, all the hand sanitizer, and whatever else that they're buying, masks, whatever else. Now, I'm going to explain why this is stupid. All right, so in a natural disaster, when a hurricane comes, right, people go out and they buy and stock up on bottled water, toilet paper, food, non-perishables, generators, gasoline, things like that. Because when a hurricane comes through, it knocks out the power. It destroys the roads, the refineries, the gas pumps don't work. You may literally be stuck in one place for a period of time, and you may have to wait it out. You do not have to do that when there's a threat that you might get a flu-like symptom if you contract and come into contact with this virus. It's no different than the flu. And like TFM said, all these people die from the flu each year. Do you care? No. Did you run out and get your flu shot? No, because you're young and healthy and you're not going to die from it. And you're not going to die from the beer virus, so what's the difference? Well, the difference is the media told you to be very, very afraid, and for some reason you're very, very afraid and can't see that they're pulling the wool over your eyes and making you look stupid. So, I don't know. I don't get it. Everything here is shut down. Everyone's afraid to leave the house. And everyone's afraid to... I don't see how anybody can even come back from this, honestly. All these small businesses, aren't they all... how are they making any money when they're closed? They're not. What about all the people that work there? How are they making money? Oh, they're not. Nobody can spend money. Nobody can go out and do anything. And here, gas is cheap, because right around this time, you've got the OPEC wars versus the Russian... you've got the oil from OPEC and the Russians. So you've got now these two competing large oil producers, and they're driving down the price of oil. So you should be able to go freely travel, buy cheap plane tickets, and go out and do stuff. Oh, but you can't because there's a travel ban and there's a ban on large gatherings. So the industries that would benefit the most from the cheap gas can't do it because of the stupid fake beer virus scare. You guys need to pull your heads out of your asses and start acting like rational, sane people and understand you don't die from it. All right? Just like if I ever get the flu, I'm mildly inconvenienced for a week. My muscles get fatigued, I don't feel well, and I may have to spend a considerable amount of time in the bathroom and not eat as much. I'll lose maybe 10 pounds. Worst case scenario. And this is no different. So I just can't believe everybody's going crazy over this. It makes no sense to me. It makes I don't understand. And for the stock market thing crashing, why are the consumer staples here? Why is that stock down 7 and 8%? All the stocks overall have just tanked. And then the consumer staples, the things people are buying the most of, your toilet paper and other sorts of those non-food type items, that stock's down like 7 or 8%. How? Why? Shouldn't that be going through the roof with everyone if there's none of those things on the shelves? Because, I mean, the toilet paper factory's still open. It's still making the stuff. The power wasn't knocked out. The trucks are arriving at the distribution center. The forklifts are loading the trucks. The trucks are driving to the stores. And the people are driving from their homes to the stores to buy it. So you've got everybody doing the opposite of what they'd tell you to do normally anyway. If you ask somebody, how do I make money in the stock market? They say, buy low, sell high. What is everyone doing? The exact opposite. They're all selling low and buying high. This is literal clown world. Honk honk. So there you have it. That's my take on this. That's my telling you to stop acting crazy. And that's TFM's explanation with his charts, including why if you didn't care about the flu and you didn't care about the swine flu, that you really shouldn't care about the Mexican beer virus, because you're not going to die from it. So ship up, shape up, stop acting crazy, stop panic buying everything, and just try to live normally. But I don't know, what are you going to do? We live in a society and everyone's gone mad. So, alright, that's my rant for this video. Hopefully we'll get back to car making content soon. If I can go buy parts at the stores, because they're all closed down. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.